Hello and welcome to the Bee Formless Flow Driven CEO podcast. I have with me today Victoria Costa, whose birthday is tomorrow. So I want to quickly celebrate birthday for tomorrow, Victoria. Happy birthday eve to you and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, B. Yeah, another year and another little bit wiser, I hope. So
Oh,
thank you for the
always
birthday
wiser.
wishes.
Always wiser. And all the way, well, I shouldn't say all the way, but another fellow Aussie in Sydney, me in Melbourne. Let's start with what the honorine is, which is the credit repair queen. So the queen of credit repairs. Absolutely love that. I love that you've got this. Everyone knows you for that. You're the founder and CEO of Credit Fix Solutions, which is a national Australian credit repair company that you launched back in 2014. So, yeah, good for you. I'd love to hear about your journey, and we will get into that. From humble beginnings as a single mom, you've grown the business now into a recognized brand, providing transparent, ethical, often no result, no fee services that help clients report errors, negotiate defaults, and rebuild credit worthiness. You've been profiled for transforming the credit repair space and advocating consumer credit education. Any wonder you're known as the credit repair queen. But no doubt, the queen of mums as well, and everything else that goes with, being a woman in that life leadership and business
Yeah.
ecosystem, if you like. Tell us about your journey.
Oh, it's not a Disney story, number one. So
Never
get
is
strapped
it?
in. I mean, I think, and this is life, it's a journey of ups and downs. And sometimes the most difficult times are the ones that really shape you as a person. And I've been through some really tough times. I grew up in the UK. I came over to Australia as a teenager and then went back and did uni in London and then ended up coming back to Australia. But I had to kind of do a runner from my first marriage when my son was two. And that caused me to be basically homeless. And
Wow.
that was back in sort of 2008, sorry. I'm losing track of years. I'm too old.
You're
2008.
so not,
Oh, yeah, it goes so fast, isn't it?
doesn't it?
And then I was lucky enough to get a really great housing commission unit in Western Sydney. It was a blessing. Like, I do not look down on that. I'm not ashamed. I went through a whole few years of working on myself because, I started identifying as housing commission, as
Yeah,
single mother, right? As not good enough. And I still feel that I have that mindset there a little bit when I'm in a room full of CEOs and
really.
business
Costa.
leaders.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's been really difficult to work on. But I was working for other people my whole life, bar work, working in home loans, worked in credit repair, always pulled a crappy salary. Never saw my son when he was little. He'd go to his dad's every second weekend. He'd have to be in morning daycare, in afternoon daycare. So I'd literally get 2 days a fortnight to spend with him. And I just burnt out one day and I just quit my job. And I thought, let me just spend a little bit of time thinking about what the next steps look like. So that was around 2013. And I was thinking then, do I get back into home loans? But, when you've had relationships and you've had certain experiences at that time, going back to certain things can be quite triggering.
yeah, I agree.
And it just reminded me of all the trauma like he dragged me through. So I couldn't get back into finance. And I thought, well, I've really enjoyed doing credit repair the last 3 years. What if I just do it, but do it differently? Because till then and now as well, a lot of credit repair firms, they say yes to everyone. They charge them a fee upfront, $500 or $700 or 1,200 or 1,500, but the outcome is never guaranteed. So I thought, let's do this. I'm really good at it. I've learned the legislation. I know how to run cases. I know how to process the cases. I know what I can be successful with and what I can't. So I can confidently say yes or no to someone up front and then only charge at the end. Now, I really put my money where my mouth was, and a lot of finance brokers. So I went out and just, you know, built relationships with finance brokers, and it just boomed. It just boomed into this massive business because we were doing the right thing and we were the only ones doing the right
Right
thing
thing
with
ethically,
us,
yeah.
ethically speaking, right? You treat others how you want to be treated. But again, the last, 11 years building the business, I mean, that's had its ups and downs too, as you know. Running a business is not like what I imagined.
No, it never is it? You've had quite the ride. You've had quite the journey. Like,
Yeah,
firstly, just want to acknowledge you, like single mom and housing commission, because there's such a stigma around that housing commission piece and that, like,
yeah.
and yet look at you and you're incredible. And then you talk about going into those rooms with, CEOs and whether it's, women or male leaders and like, I'm not good enough for this, like I come from this, but actually you are. And I think from those lived experiences, we grow more and there's more character in who we are and look at you, like incredible. What a story, what a journey. Like look at you, so successful in your own right, not just from a business perspective, but as a mum and as a leader. And we need more of these stories coming out because like you say, it's not a Disney story. It's not always shiny. You know,
No.
the fact you even said that you burnt out, I've burnt out. It's a real it's a shit time, let's face it.
Yeah,
And you-
100%.
you're doing all the work on yourself because you want to improve. But it's almost like for me, I don't know about you, but there's this part of me that was like something on the inside is saying to me, there's more to me than this, and I deserve more than this, and I can give more to the external once I've sorted myself out internally and feel
Yeah, and you're right doing that, and good on you. So, so proud of you too. You're an amazing human being. You need to block out the noise, right? You need to stay in your lane, mind your own business, and not care what other people think of you. I mean, the industry I'm in, it's quite male dominated. It can be quite vindictive and sort of, stab in the back type thing. But you've got to just let that go and know that you're doing the best you can do and that positive mindset, keep doing that because I find that the more I just put that out there, I wake up in the morning, I say, I'm going to have a great day. I hope I get to help someone today. And then when I do, I'm like, I've achieved what I set out to do, right? It's a
yeah.
really weird KPI to have in business, but it makes me happy. Our lives are so full. Like I'm juggling meetings and phone calls and emails and, checking the P&L and then it's the kids and then it's I've got stepkids now too. So it's the kids and it's the washing and it's the cooking and the cleaning. I don't know, I mean, because my second husband, I mean, he's just beautiful. We've been married for 9 years now, so very lucky to have found him. He's my best friend and he helps out. But for some reason, when you get married, you have this unwritten rule that you're in charge of feeding everyone every day for the rest of your life,
Yeah.
right? Ah,
It's a juggle, isn't it? Like it's a full juggle that you've
yeah.
got going on. How do you find time for yourself? Like how do you make time for yourself so you ensure that your cup's full? Like because yeah, there is this, you can look at the statistics as women, we have this tendency to do more, take more on, care for people, like even with what you were just
Yeah.
talking about with your business and, helping others
Hmm.
it can be exhausting at times. And when
It can be. I think you just treat yourself like a bit of a sports person. I mean, don't take that literally. I'm not out there doing friggin' 500 sit-ups every day, but you do need to take some key points from sports professionals. So they eat well, they sleep well, they stay hydrated, they keep their routine the same. That's, I think, the only way that you can manage it and have a smile on your face every day because it doesn't stop. Time for me is, Sunday I do nothing, so nothing is done in the house, nothing is cooked, nothing is cleaned. And that regular just day off is kind of all I need. I get out and I
yeah,
do a lot of gardening. Like I find I feel really grounded when I've been out and had my, feet in the grass and done a bit of weeding and planted some tomatoes or whatever it is, and that keeps me going because that brings me a lot of joy. Something really simple. It doesn't have to cost you a lot of money. It doesn't have to be, oh, I need to be in the spa once a month, for 6 hours. You can find small things, especially if you're maybe looking to start a business or you're starting a business, you don't have any money at that point. So my little joys are, okay, I really love cooking. I really love growing things. So I just concentrate on those two things. And you do something regularly like that for yourself. It just, yeah, it just creates happiness.
I love that whole perspective and analogy, but the Sunday nothing day. there's something really rich inside non-time, right? In terms of
Hmm.
the ability to ruminate not on anything, but let's just see what comes up for you and what happens
Yep.
when you have those nothing days. And yet we don't do that, right? Instead, we ruminate around worrying about everything. We, like you say, sometimes it's like, I'm gonna have a rest, but then you're constantly thinking. The nothing day is what we need more of in business or in leadership. Sorry, I don't know what just happened. Then I heard an echo. But yeah, I love it. Do you come from a nothing day, like your nothing day on a Sunday, which is like obviously religious for you in terms of each week?
Hmm.
What happens? Like, what happens for you from a mindset perspective? Do you get like fresh ideas coming through? Like, or is it just a complete nothing? Like, do you notice a significant change from having a nothing day on a Sunday to then heading into the start of the week?
Yeah, no, totally. If I don't get a nothing day, Monday just feels too hectic.
Mm,
So I feel that I'm not going to make it through the week. Like Monday will feel like a Thursday if I haven't had my nothing day. Because it happens sometimes, right? You've got a
mm.
christening or you've got
Yeah,
something with the family that you just can't get out of. And hubby's got a massive Lebanese family. So, a christening means your whole day's gone,
yeah, 100%.
which is fine. And I love them to bits. But the nothing days are good because I can actually switch off. I'm very good at switching off. And I don't know whether I developed the skill when my son was young and he wouldn't stop yapping. And you can learn to switch the mic. Sounds bad. Like I love him to bits. But sometimes you just need to switch off from them yapping and kind of you're saying, yeah, yeah, that's great, but you're not
Listening.
actively listening. And
Yeah,
so I just learned over the years, I think because I've been doing that for so many years now, is making sure I get that day of nothing. I might go out and, check on the garden, get some sun, go for a walk. I might even cook that day if I feel, very relaxed and happy and just want to cook something, wonderful that we're all going to enjoy. But I can just switch off and it's like I just forget whatever's happening. I know that I've set my goals. We've got our marketing plan. We've got our business plan. I've spent the week well. It's been successful. We've reached the targets we needed to, and there's nothing to do until tomorrow, right? So if I just think of it that way, I just enjoy plodding around the house, really. It's great.
it's whole proving out that being present, it's that present, right? Like the ability
Mhm.
to be present. And that whole work will always be there. Tomorrow will be there. But what if you
Yep.
could just be present right now? Like
Mm.
it's such a good, we need more of that. We need more of that from a leadership and in business perspective to have that ability to be okay with having that nothing day. I just think because there's so much
Mm.
pressure. What do you see as the biggest, I guess, in your industry?
Mm.
What are you seeing as the biggest challenges right now?
Well, cost of living crisis,
Yeah,
number one, the cost of housing, the lack of housing. Renting is difficult, buying is difficult for the next generation. I don't see that changing anytime soon. Banks can't afford for house prices to go down because they've lent out so much money, right? So you're never going to get
yeah,
a massive dip moving forward. I think people will hope for that. We're going to have like a property crash, but it's not going to happen, especially with the lack of building over the next few years, because we need around, I think in New South Wales alone, about 350,000 homes built
yeah. I
by
don't know what the stats are, but
2029. Yeah, I don't see that. I mean, they've changed some of the legislation to make it easier, but let's see how they get on with that. But that again with things like the government grants coming in, 5% deposits, that's only going to bump up prices. And if you're in, say, for example, Western Sydney, median house price is what, $1 million. It's not going to go down. When grant funding comes in, prices go up
yeah,
because demand goes up. So
yeah,
therefore supply is less economics, right? But what I see mostly with regards to people trying to buy and trying to get onto a wealth creation journey is just behavioral damage of their credit report. So they can't get into the best lending options. So you've got non-bank lenders, right? Like Pepper and Bluestone, and they're fantastic. They're non-banks are a little bit more expensive, and
yeah.
sometimes they have, 1% application fee. This is if you're buying a home. But they're not, none of them, I don't think, are doing the grants. If you want the grant, you have to have a score of, you have to have a good score on your credit report, and nothing wrong with your credit report. And what we're seeing at the moment, I mean, for context, we see about 20 to 30 credit reports a day. There's
Wow.
three of us in scenarios, yeah. And most times it's just consumers not understanding what shopping around does to their credit report. So you go online, you get excited, oh, I'd like a personal loan. Let me go and check some rates, and you go and apply. If you do that two or three times in one day, you'll completely damage your score.
Yeah.
And and people don't realize that that's happening. I mean, it's systemic in that government just needs to change or edit the current legislation to state that credit providers can do soft touch inquiries, right? Like it's not hard,
No.
government, if you're listening. Do you know what I mean? Like it's pretty, I can come in and edit the legislation if you like. It's a couple of sentences. Let's just get it done. It's sitting there. I have spoken to an MP recently who her son couldn't get his first loan for an apartment because he did one dodgy personal loan inquiry and dropped his score. So his score was too low to get the loan across the line, and she was absolutely shocked. So she dragged me into her office, and I knew one of her staff, Justin. Our kids went to school together, and we had a lovely conversation because I said to her, I said, I don't know how many people this is impacting, but we're a boutique firm. We just deal with finance brokers. It could be hundreds of people every week not being able to start their wealth creation journey. And it's something as simple as that, a quick change or edit to legislation so that we can shop around online,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And the other thing we're seeing is that people are too reactive when they're going for a loan. So they just go and apply, they get knocked back, and then they have to go back and find out what the problem is. So nobody's going and, oh, I'll go and get my credit report today, and then I might get some education from Victoria on, how I can protect it or fix it. It's go for the loan, get knocked back, damage it a bit more, and then send us the report reactively. And then, unfortunately, most times, so out of 30 reports we see a day, we probably only onboard four people because the rest of them is just stuff we can't fix, like you've done too many inquiries or you've missed repayment. So we've now got 24 months repayment history on our credit reports. And a lot of people don't realize that if you're late even 1 month, it's marked on your report and you lose 400 points.
Yeah,
So
right.
your score's 1200, right? This is with Equifax. Most people sit at like, 650, 700. That's good. You don't need to be higher. Say if I'm at 750, I missed this month's home loan or credit card repayment, I'll be at 450 tomorrow or, in a
And then
couple of
how does
weeks.
it rebuild back? How do you get the points back?
Yeah, and that's the problem is that the damage is long term. So number one, by changing that legislation, it will stop the inquiries because inquiry history is 5 years and repayment history is 2 years. So if you've got a bad inquiry pattern, you're out of having a good score for 5 years.
Yeah, right.
That's stuck in renting for 5 more years, stuck with not being able to upgrade your car for 5 years. And late payments, again, doesn't matter if you've missed one payment and it's 22 months old, you're still going to have a low score until it drops off. So you've got to wait the whole 2 years for that to drop off before better lending options or any lending options become available, especially unsecured, right? So credit cards, personal loans, you have to be at 700 and completely squeaky clean.
Mm. You talked around wealth generation and, kind of the need to be, starting that at, like, you didn't say starting out, but you've brought that up a few times. Do you see that, I guess, with so much complexity, and you talked around this reactivity piece, do you think that wealth creation is on the back burner for younger generations versus when, what was ingrained in us as we were establishing ourselves? Like, what are you seeing as, like, almost like the trends or the tension points there in terms of, I don't know really know what I'm asking here, but I guess my question is,
Guess if there's younger listeners, right?
yeah,
What are they doing? No, it's a great question. I still think they're trying as much as what we were. I mean, I didn't bother doing anything until I didn't buy my first home until I was like 40.
yeah,
It's so expensive in Sydney. But look, I think younger people are still trying to. There's definitely a shift to rent vesting. So renting in an area that you want to live in,
get that
but
too.
you can't afford to buy in, and then you buy a property and then rent that out in an area where you can afford to buy. So there's a big shift towards rent vesting and also crypto. A lot of
Oh,
the youngsters, yeah, I'm talking to, their investment strategy is so unlike what we talk about.
Yeah.
They're investing in crypto and waiting for returns on that, investing on things like Pokemon cards. Um, yeah, stuff I wouldn't have
It's
even
wild, isn't it? Like
thought of.
you just kind of go, oh my goodness, like it's such a fast change in like generations
Huge.
and what we're investing in. Tell me from a business owner perspective, what do you find is the most challenging?
Um, Well, the cost of living crisis hasn't been easy, right? So this year and last year for us, and also hubby had a massive heart attack this time 2 years ago. He's fine.
Mm.
But what I find hard is that as a woman, I suppose, a business owner, is that I'm the carer and I'm the business owner. And so managing that, I've probably found the last 2 years the most difficult. Um, that on top of sort of copycat competitors, um, even copying my story, which is just weird. Like, why would you copy my story?
Yeah, I
It's
know.
freaky.
Yeah, yeah,
Or and bullying as well from competitors. I found that the toughest because you do take it personally. I don't care what anyone says. You take it personally when you're attacked like that.
mm.
We're only human. I mean, I'm sitting here, I'm trying to help people. I'm not getting paid until I'm successful. 10% of my clients then don't bother paying me. They'll end up with bad credit, but they just walk away. It's not easy, and my bank account isn't great, and hubby's starting a new business thing now, but we've been relying on just me. It's very heavily reliant on me. It's like go to Victoria and fix your credit because that's kind of how I built it. It's always just I'm the face of the business. But my team's amazing. I couldn't do what I do without them. My admin team's brilliant. I used to think that managing people was hard, but it's not. It's just because when you don't have the experience, you need to learn like how to effectively manage people. And then once you learn something, it's easy, right? And then I don't find any task difficult anymore. I've just been running a business for so long now. It's just everything is difficult when you haven't done it before. So you just need to get going.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
that's what you need to do.
so many good observations in that in terms of just like the team piece as well as like just get going. Like it's almost like some days when you get stuck, for example, it's like how do you get yourself out of it? It's just like one step in front of the other. Like I'm just gonna put
Yeah.
one step in front
Even
of
if
the
it's
other.
10 minutes, right? Just,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to sit here for 10 minutes and I'm just going to read a little bit about this.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, move on. And then maybe, all right, this afternoon, I'm just going to do another 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Little time blocks are usually more effective than kind of going, oh my God, I've got this huge task. I
I
don't
agree.
have 6 hours for it, right?
I
You
agree.
chip away at it and then in a week you're done.
Yeah. And back to that copycatting piece, I used to take it personally and sometimes I still do get like a little frustrated and I'm like that I can see where that's coming from. But I also kind of
Mm.
go in a way, it's complimentary to that you are the leader, you're the queen of, what was it, credit repair. But then it's almost like, well, what's your next pivot, or what's your next, if you think about competitive sport, what's your next advantage point that you're going to take? And I always
100%.
think, because you're your unique, authentic self, no one can replicate that. So
I
sure,
love that.
you can
I love
replicate
that.
this, you can replicate that, but you cannot replicate me and you cannot replicate what I'm about to do next. So
Yeah.
off you go. You've caught up. Great. I'm here. I'm going again. Like, do you know what I mean? It's almost like that whack-a-mole
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, I think that, and I need to remind myself of that at times as well. And I think sometimes as in particular women, I think we have this more we get ourselves almost like we sweat it a little. And I'm not suggesting men don't, please don't get me wrong, but sometimes we sweat on the things that sometimes it's like, actually, no, right. My next move is going to be this. And I think that kind of
Yeah.
that gets me fired.
My husband gets more emotional about all the copycat stuff and all the rest of it. He gets angrier than I do. I'm just like la la la, and I'm like you. Yes, it is a bit of it's a lovely lovely compliment, and I love the bit you just said about move on. What's your next thing? And that's what's great about it because we're being our authentic selves. So I mean, I just came up with a awesome idea. Well, I think it's awesome. I don't know if everybody else does. But I've been doing like case study videos for my YouTube
Oh
channel.
yeah, awesome.
And then, yeah, sort of like info educational videos for the YouTube channel and, LinkedIn. And we regularly post content every week. And I was like, everybody's doing this now. Okay, so what would be different? I thought, you know what? Because the guy that works for me, Zarko, he's fantastic and he's well known in industry with finance brokers. I thought, let's do like a news show, like where we're both sitting there and either he starts or I start, and we ask each other questions and just short, sharp. So we called it the credit reporting rundown
I
with
love
Victoria.
that.
Yeah, I know. And we just recorded like a whole bunch of them as you do, and we're posting them out every week. And I laughed with hubby the other day. I said, "So how long until they all start doing these? Let's wait and see, you know." But you're so right. Just moving on, and my focus has always been in education, which is why I'm one of the go-to people in my area because I'm education first. Money second. My husband says I should probably just work for legal aid. Um, But it's okay. You do what you do because you love it, right? Because you're
Yeah.
authentic. So tick that box. You're doing good in the world. And my aim is to leave the world a better place than what I found it. And there is a complete lack of education in schools. There's no financial literacy. And so what I've been working on in the background is, well, number one, trying to help with, government and legislation changes to protect consumers, but also getting a school program developed, which we've now done. And we're about to launch the pilot program for New South Wales Anglican schools. It's all locked in.
Wow, incredible.
Really excited. Yeah, we did our first one last year, and the girls were like, they loved it. Like the teachers warned us and said, oh, sometimes the ladies aren't very, committed and they might just be sitting there with their heads down. But you should have seen it honestly be like hands were flying in the air. Like, what if I never buy anything or apply for anything? I'm like, well, you never have a credit report. And we talked about budgeting and trying to create, a healthy relationship with money with
Yeah, because we
a lot
didn't
of
have it. Like we did not I didn't
no.
have it. Like it's financial well-being. And as women, we want to be independent. We want to be like, we want to
Hmm.
be able to stand on our own 2 feet. And I wish I had something like that at school. Like,
Yeah.
we had to learn the hard way. We had,
Yeah, I know, and that's not the right way to go about it. We should be lifting young humans and placing them in a good position to start their lives. And even if it's just some basic info, like so many women now, they have so much less super than their partners,
yeah,
and that's because we often come out, we have the children, we come out to look after mum and dad when they're sick. But there's ways to up your super when you are on maternity leave, for example. So you can actually do little things with hubby's or partner's super, which means your super stays more even. Um, so learning all of that, it was just so great. The kids were awesome. I went in thinking, oh my God, is this going to be like that Coolio Michelle Pfeiffer movie? And I'm going to have chairs thrown at me. And
for that
but
movie.
they were just awesome and so engaged. So off the back of that, the head office for Anglican Schools New South Wales asked us to do this pilot program. We're going to be running that for free. We've got about 8 schools now locked in for November. Once we've done that, we've managed to get some sponsorship as well from industry. So very excited about that. We hope to roll it out to all Anglican schools for the 2027 education year and then 2026, sorry. And then our vision is that all year 10s will have financial literacy. It'll be free for all schools. We'll
Wow.
put a broker in front of the school, accredited, working with Children Check, obviously, we'll vet them all, we'll train them all. But the school will have access to a local broker who then has a whole community, right? So you're helping the finance broking industry too, and helping
Amazing.
communities.
Yeah, I love it.
Um, so that's my pivot. I'm like, you know what? In a couple of years' time, you're all going to have to fix your own shit because I'm going to be gone.
Yeah, you
Uh,
are making some serious positive impact and change in the world. When you booked in for the pod, I have that question around what's, a unique insight lived experience in life, leadership, or business.
mm.
And you said it's better to be green and growing than ripe and rotting. Love that. Be a student of life and don't see mistakes as failure. You're either winning or learning. Some of the mistakes or hurdles I've come across over the years have made me a stronger person and a better leader. We've covered a lot of ground in this podcast, but can you just share a little bit more around that, please? Especially it's better to be green and growing than ripe and rotting. There was something I was like, yeah, this is very interesting.
Oh, 100%. And it's a great mantra. I mean, always been a big believer in improving yourself.
Mm.
So we can't be great at everything. So you've got to, number one, you've got to learn to have people who are, better than you around you so you can learn from them. But number two is to delegate out to people who are really good at a task, maybe that you lack in. So I can do public speaking and I'm fine with public speaking. I don't enjoy public speaking. I'm fine to run events. I like running events, but it's a lot. So Zarko has been helping me with that for 3 years and he's really good at it. He's fun, he's excited. That's his jam. He just loves emceeing, loves running events, loves talking. He'll talk all day long, in front of a group of brokers and be super excited about it. So, I've learned to delegate out and go, okay, well, I shouldn't be doing admin tasks, right? Well, develop a training program so that you can have other people doing those tasks. So
Yeah.
over the years, I've done that. So always growing, but not in the sense of I have to learn everything. It's what do I have to do and what do I kind of not have to do? Like writing that list out and doing that regularly and kind of going, all right, I really shouldn't be doing that anymore.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't be standing at a stand anymore, selling my wares. My team should be doing that and I should be sitting here doing the assessments. So as of next year, I'm not doing events anymore. So my BDM role has been cut, which I've enjoyed over the years. And then I can also concentrate on the education space and the legislation and compliance space more as well, which is also what I'm really passionate about. But being green and growing as well also means that you do need to regularly, I think number one is having your circle. So having a tribe, having a circle, that's something that's really helped me the last couple of years. I didn't have that until a couple of years ago. And I love the ladies in my little tribe. And from that I can hear their points of weakness too, which we often don't say. I think you're right as well, especially as women. We go out and we've got the hair done and the makeup and the heels and shoulders back and you really have to hold the fort out there when you're networking and you're out and about with other business owners. But in that little group, you can be vulnerable and you can say, you
Great.
know what? I'm actually having a really shit day. I've been crying all morning, and just let it all out. I think vetting's really, venting's very important and having that tribe.
Great.
But getting into business coaching, I still know business owners who don't have a proper email address. They've been running a business for years. They've got at gmail.com and they don't have a voicemail. Like it's simple stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you don't train yourself, and I still do business coaching now. Like you're never finished, so you're
100%.
always a student, right? And so even if I think, oh, we're having a great run and it's going really well, I still force myself once a quarter to spend a couple of days on the business. And I always find something, always to improve.
Yeah, I love it. So insightful. So insightful. What would be one piece of advice or tip you would, and this is going to be twofold, you would give
Mhm.
someone who is in a bit of a crisis, they're stuck and they're not sure what to do next when it comes to, I'll just say, from a financial wealth perspective, what would
Mhm.
be one piece of advice you would give them as a starting point?
Went through it recently myself. You have to be fast and you've got to make changes. So I had to move fast. I had to cut costs. You've got to get all your costs out and you've got to look at it. You've got to bite the bullet, rip the band-aid off. You can't and ah and think, oh, let me see how we go next month. Let me see how we go next month. Get onto it, cut costs, just try and take the emotion out of it if you've got to get rid of people. I had to get rid of an amazing staff member. I just thought, well, if we're not going to be making the money we used to, and that's going to be long term, well, our costs are too high, right? So I
Yeah, yeah,
had to do it. And remember, if someone's been with you for a while, you still got to then pay them out, and it could be a few months pay. So bearing that in mind that, cutting costs doesn't always mean it has an immediate impact on the business. But it just is what it is. If your business is earning 50 grand a month and then all of a sudden you're doing 20, well, we need to look at that as, okay, where's my buffer? So piece of advice is you need to get onto it really quick. Don't put it on the back burner. But secondly, if you don't have a buffer or whatever, it might be that, you need to sell your house or you need to sell an investment property. Again, this is just life, it's business. Some of the most successful people in business have had a loss and had to sell property, and start again. And that's okay. So what? It's a bunch of bricks. We're taught that
Yeah,
we
it's
need
so
to own
true.
a home and we need to get married. And again, like the whole Disney story thing, it's not true. It's not important, and you can't take it with you. But what you do need to look after is your health,
Yeah.
right? And if you don't look after your health, you have absolutely nothing. And all that stress does, as we know, is cause cortisol production, which is extremely unhealthy. I mean, I, for one, over the last, like I said, it's been a really horrible 2 years. And we're selling our home too, by the way, but I actually can't wait now. I can't wait for that freedom, because with freedom as well comes creativity. I've really lost last 2 years. Like I've had points where I just can't get out of bed. I can't face it,
Yeah,
you know.
that's
Oh, another tip, Rocky movies really help.
yeah, like
Bit of
the
dun,
song.
dun, dun, dun,
Yeah,
yeah.
the song. Oh my gosh, you're such a bright spark though. Like, you've had a lot of adversity, but here you are being Rocky Balboa, still just like Eye of the Tiger, dun dun dun. I love that
Yeah.
about you because you've called out some really valid points here in terms of you need to move fast, and that's not from a reactive space and place, but it's the ability to strategically pivot or make the calls that need to be made because quite often we don't make the calls that need to be made quick enough. And then the damage is even more worse than, what it could have been from a prevention perspective. But the health piece, like health is wealth, isn't it? Like our health
Yeah.
is our wealth, like money, all the material stuff. Yes, of course we want wealth creation, but if we don't have our health, how can we even think about wealth? And so,
Amen.
Victoria, thank you so much. How do we find out more about you? I noted before you've got a YouTube channel, but where do we find more about you and also Credit Fix Solutions?
So probably best place to start is the website, so creditfixsolutions.com.au. We are in New Zealand as well, looking to open up in the UK next year, but that site's a great point. You can also just search me up on LinkedIn, so Victoria Costa on LinkedIn, and you'll find me there. I'm always happy to connect. I'm always happy to share advice, tips. You've got, questions, more than happy to, help where I can. I can't always help, but I try, as we all do.
And your YouTube channel, is it Credit Fix Solutions or Victoria Costa?
Yeah, Credit Fix Solutions. Yeah,
Awesome.
on
Okay.
YouTube.
Thank you so
And
much.
that's just, yeah, educational pieces. Did you know that too many
Oh, I love
inquiries
it.
can.
No, 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 I absolutely love it. I think it's brilliant. Like, yeah, I don't know. I just see you continuing just to grow and evolve,
Thanks,
and
B.
what you're doing in the world is very special, and the
Yeah,
giving.
and same to you. And thank you for having me along, because I hope even if somebody listens to this and goes, oh crap, I better stop shopping around online, right? We've saved another credit report, which is good.
So true, so true. And I'm wishing you the happiest of happy birthdays tomorrow. I hope you're doing something lovely or having a nothing day on your birthday and just celebrating the next lap, the next lap around the sun. That's what we'll call it. So, yeah, happy birthday.
Thanks so much, B. I'm actually getting the house ready for open home on Saturday, plus work, but I'll have a nice little half an hour in the morning in the sun with a cup of coffee. So
I love it.
that'll be nice.
Yes, enjoy. Well, thank you and have a wonderful afternoon this afternoon.
You too. Thanks, B.
Thank you.